What up guys, it's Music Elitist here today and I'm back with another video. Now today's video we're going to be reviewing Ice Nine Kills The Silver Scream. Now this album it's been a crazy journey. It's pretty interesting and it's a lot different than other albums that I have listened to or seen. And I have seen some concept albums that have cool ideas, but never to this level, and especially when it extends out even after the album. I've never seen them to this level, but I have definitely seen it with some other artists. But let's get into each song from this album. Now the first song, the American Nightmare, I absolutely love that song. I think that song was really great. It had a great amount of energy to it. It was a really great opening for an album. I usually talk about the last song of an album, but also the first song does matter. I just think the last song is more important, but the first song is good and the last song is good. That is a very, very good thing for your album as a whole, because now the introduction sounds nice and the send-off is also nice. And I think this introduction was really good. It had a really great amount of energy. And it represented very well what this album was about. It was going to be about, it was crazy, it was chaotic, it was full of energy, it had screaming parts in it, and it had also, melodic parts in it, it had fast parts. So it represented this album as a whole very well, and I really like that about this. So this song was definitely a great one, and it was a song that after I listened to it, the first time doing my video, I started listening to countless times, going to the gym, working out, listening to it, and I still listen to it today. So this is a great song. Then we have Thank God It's Friday, another great song. I absolutely love this one too. This one was a complete banger. It was just like the American, I can't tell which one I like more, the American Nightmare or Thank God It's Friday. I've been kind of arguing with myself back and forth between these two songs, which one is better, but I just really can't choose. And then Stab Me in the Dark, I think that was an okay song. I don't think it was bad. It had enjoyable parts to the song, but as a whole, it wasn't as good as the other two. And then Savages was a fun, nice song in its own way, and it did remind me of Skillet a lot with their music. I think it was Monster, and I love Skillet. I love that song too, so the fact that it kind of sounded like it was also really good for me. But then we got The Jig Is Up, which I personally didn't care for. I think The Jig Is Up is, I wouldn't say it's the worst song on this album, but it's just definitely a low point on it. It just didn't really do much for me. Then we got Grave Mistake, which I'm also now once again arguing with myself. Is this my favorite song on this album, or is it just one of my favorites? Because I can't really decide. There are a couple of other songs on this album, well, two other songs on this album, that I'm kind of fighting back and forth with in my mind about which one I like better, but this song is definitely an amazing song. It's definitely one up there. When I first heard it, I was like, yep, this is my favorite song out of this entire album. I don't know if I can say that right now. I will be going through a little bit more to see how I feel about it, but this is definitely an amazing song. It was different than the other songs because this is more like, just pure clean singing. It was more sadness. It was more of a emotional. It was about loss and stuff. Those other ones were about craziness and leading up to his descent in madness and murders and stuff like that. Whereas this one, it was more personal. It was more emotional, and him singing about his grief. Those other songs were about his what happened after the grief. This was the grief that led him to what he became. Then we got Rockin' the Boat, which I listened to before I even did this album reaction, and I really like this song. This song is so great. The only thing I don't like too much was the fact that they kept on the Jaws theme a little bit too long in the song, and I think that's cool to add that in, but I do think it's a little bit too long and I would have made it a little bit shorter. But as a whole, this song is amazing. It has great energy. It's just like the first two songs, and it represents this album as a whole very well. Then we got Enjoy Your Slay, which I don't remember that song too well. If I'm being honest, I don't think Enjoy Your Slay was that great. I think it was okay, but it's a very forgetful song. Then we have Freak Flag. I think this is my least favorite song out of this entire album. It was the most bland. It was the most, generic and repetitive. It didn't seem too crazy. It didn't have anything cool with it. Like the other songs had something to add onto it, like some flavor to it. But this one was very bland for me. Then we had The World in My Hands, another one of my favorite songs from this album. This was about Edward Scissorhands, which I love that movie. I didn't even know if you can consider that a horror movie, because I don't, but it's an amazing movie, and it's an amazing song for the movie. It fit very well with the theme of the movie itself, and the singing was very great. I really love that. And then we have Merry Xmas, which I don't know. I wouldn't say I really love the song, but I do enjoy this song. It's weird because it has like a weird style to it because it has like a Christmas theme. You hear Christmas type of instrumentals and vibe to it. But for me, it wasn't. I don't know. I just don't know. This one is definitely, out of all of them, it's the weirdest with my feelings towards it. I don't know if I absolutely love it or I hate it. Maybe I think, for me personally, I think it's okay, but better. I don't know how to describe it, to be honest. And then Love Bites. I love this song. I think this song was great. I did mention how I didn't like a little bit of part in the song when they transitioned to the feature. Her voice was really good. It was just the beginning, once when she came in, they started getting a little pop sounding, and it sounded like from soft rock music to pop music, and I didn't like that. But once when they went back to the normal lyrics, I felt like it went back into the a soft rock element. So she didn't ruin it. It just felt like the lyrics at that point just sounded a little too popish to me, and the style of it. But as a whole, I love this song. And this is one of the songs on this album that I'm kind of fighting back and forth with in my head. Is this my favorite? Or is The Grave Mistake my favorite? It's between this, The Grave Mistake, and The World in My Hands. These three songs are, in my mind, like the top tier songs from this album. I just can't really decide which one I like more. Then we have It Is The End, which I listened to yesterday. Now, It Is The End, I really, really like that song. That song had a great element of all the other songs. It had fast parts, it had the screaming in it, it had the clean vocals in it, it had transitions in it, and it had a nice epic style and vibe towards the end. The end definitely blew me out of the water because of how, how epic it was, how powerful it was. You just hear it and you just can sit back and think in your head like, wow, this is so good. So this was also a really great song, and I was just so happy that they ended off this album with a great song, because one of the worst things to have when you listen to, an album or a song is to have, an album is to have the last album be, or last song on the album be kind of, a downer or decline. But this one was really great, and it represented this album as a whole perfectly. So I think that was a great option. So yeah, as a whole, I think this album had some really great songs, some standout songs. The majority of these songs I love listening to the point where I kept on listening to it over and over again, and I'm still listening to it. That's how good they are. So the first two songs, amazing. The third song, kind of average. The fourth song, pretty great. Fifth song, I didn't really care for. Sixth song, one of my favorites. The seventh song, the Rockin' the Boat, also one of my favorites. Eighth song, didn't really care too much about. Ninth song, didn't like at all. That was my least favorite. 10th song, also arguing if it's the best song, I don't know. 11th song, one of the most, wild cards out of all the songs. I don't know if I really love it that much or do I think it's okay. But it's definitely not a bad song. It's just, I don't know where to place it. Number 12, an amazing song, once another runner-up for, first place. I don't know which one's better. And then the last song, a really great send-off and a great conclusion to this album as a whole. These songs are all amazing, and like I said, only 2, 3, or 4 of the songs from this album I did not care about or didn't like, but the rest of the songs were really good. I like the vibe of it. I like the story that it was leading up. Not every song had a story because not every song had, an album to it, but it was still interesting to see where it was leading up. I like the story. I like the build up to it. For the music part, I really love the music. The music was really great. For the story part, I absolutely love the story. So you have two different things here. You have the story and you have the music. The music was phenomenal. I would give it like a 9 out of 10 or 8.5 out of 10. And the story was pretty decent too. I would give it 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. But the fact that they put in a story is pretty cool. So this album is definitely, I don't want to put it at a 10 because that would be perfect, and I can't really say it's perfect. But I'll put it at a 9, a solid 9. It is a phenomenal album. You guys should go check it out. It's just a great album, and definitely majority of the songs from this album I'll put them on my playlist. And that's how I kind of categorize if an album is really good. Is if majority of the songs or a ton of the songs from that album I put on my playlist and I consistently listen to it, because that showcases how good it was. If there's an album with a couple of songs that I like, that song is pretty okay, but I do have something good for it, but it's just pretty okay. So a song can have a couple of, an album can have a couple of songs in it that are good, and that makes it okay. But an album with majority of the songs that you keep on listening to it, it's an amazing album, and I really love this one. So yeah, I'm very happy I went into this journey on listening to Ice Nine Kills, and especially this album as a whole. I know I didn't get in as many views as I did for my other songs, and a lot of people didn't check it out too much, but I just really enjoyed all the songs and reacting to it and just checking it out. So it was a great experience, and it made me go from not knowing this band to absolutely loving this band, and now I can fully say that I am a fan of this band. I just love it. Everything about this album just blows my mind, and I can't just stop praising it for how great it is. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.